We'll just give a brief rundown of the podcast, what we see or what we expect to see from it, and what made us start it. So I would ask you, why did we start this podcast?
I don't know. It's weird. But to be honest, for me, like personally, I've been reminiscing about like opening a podcast, like having like a platform to talk.
Oh, so he just jumped onto anyone and said, "Hey, podcast."
No, like as soon as kind of.
So,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
But now, to be honest, first time you told me about it, I was like, what is guy talking about now? But to be honest, like before you even mention it, like just to explain my point of view, like I've been like thinking about opening a podcast, but I was thinking of like having the correct tools, correct equipment and stuff. To be honest, opening a podcast is a headache. It's a headache, to be honest. But when you like came to me, because now I knew like deep inside my mind that I was like, I can't do it alone, to be honest. So as soon as you came along and you started telling me, but okay, I want to open a podcast and stuff like that. What is the podcast about? Like, okay, we're talking about that weird conversation and stuff. I'm like, oh, this guy is definitely reading my mind. Yeah, you're reading my mind. So now, for instance, there are some conversations, like conversation, I think conversation that word. Conversation or maybe topics that I'm always thinking of, but then neither do I want to talk about them, and neither does anyone else want to talk about them. So as soon as you told me that no, we're gonna be talking about the craziest conversation and the weirdest conversation, I'm like, oh, maybe it's one or less the same thing that I'm thinking of. So let me just give it a go. And then off I am. Let me give it a go. What's the worst thing that can happen?
We get canceled.
That episode cancelled.
But like I said, you can't add a zero, you can't subtract the zero from a zero. But who knows? Maybe when we watch this, we'll be like,
cancelled. Yeah, but to be honest, like, tell me that about your thought processes. That what made you think about like a podcast? More especially this kind of podcast. What made you think about it? Like, tell me your thought processes. Like, what made you like wanna dive into content creation? Because to be honest, like being on a public space is a really big thing. To be honest, because from this day onwards, maybe you're gonna get like friends running over you. I wanna take a picture. Do you think you can handle that thing? Oh, but now let me just ask you too many questions. Just tell me about the thought process for you.
I think you're dreaming too big.
Yeah. Anything is possible. Yeah, but to be honest, like, tell me that about your thought processes. Like, what made you think about like a podcast? More especially this kind of podcast. What made you think about it? Like, tell me the thought processes. Like, what made you like wanna dive into content creation? Because to be honest, like being on a public space is a really big thing. To be honest, because from this day onwards, maybe you're gonna get like friends running over you. I wanna take a picture. Do you think you can handle that thing? Oh, but now let me just ask you too many questions. Just tell me about the thought process for you.
Trust me,